All right, good morning. Happy Wednesday, hump day. How is everybody this morning as they roll in? We'll get things going. It's a nice sunny day out here today, so I'm in a good mood today. Plus I had a bunch of dividends come in, which was awesome, but we'll get into that. So as the coffee crew rolls in, thank you for joining. Thanks for tuning in live. If you're watching this on the replay, which we get a lot of people on the replay, thank you. Thank you for watching. And if you wanted to catch us live, we go Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock to about 8:45. It'd be good to have you join on. If you're watching live, you know the drill. Say good morning. Let's see who's here today. We have the regular coffee crew. Channel members are here. If you're new, don't be afraid to say hi. Good group of people. Talk about our TFSAs, talk about investing, talk about the market. We usually get sidetracked on some other topic, but that's all good too. It's always kind of a good way to start the day with a coffee and a chat. So let's see who is here. Candace, good morning, Candace. Hopefully you're doing good. Got cool shades on today. Had to have I went out this morning, Candace, picked up a few groceries, and I needed my shades on too. A nice sunny day, a nice sunrise today. I have to get out now. Now that it's kind of starting to warm up. I think spring is in the air a little bit, at least on the west coast here, and get out, take some pictures for sure in the morning. Some of these nice sunrises as they're coming up. So good morning, and Candace, I saw you're on your member tab today. You got some really good, nice dividends too, so that's awesome. It's always good to see. And unfortunately, though, Paul, good morning, Paul. Got your coffee. That's awesome. And Paul, you didn't beat Candace this morning. Candace was the first one in the chat. She's tough. She's a tough one to beat. She's, I know, up early for the market and for the market open. So maybe she's got a little bit of an advantage there. But always good to have you here. Good morning. Always good. And Nadia is here, channel member. Nadia, thank you. Thanks for being a channel member. And yeah, happy International Women's Day. So that I think definitely, Nadia, that deserves the horn. So we'll give you the horn. We'll give the horn out for Women's Day. All right, that's good. Stan, good morning. Always good to have you here. The regulars are all tuning, all here and tuned in, and hopefully your day is going good as well. And MC, good morning. Good morning. I still don't know why you're still special with your icon there not showing up. I don't know why it's yours. It's so weird, but there we go. And yeah, yeah. Happy International Women's Day to everybody. That's awesome. I've got my YouTube mug on today too, Nadia, just for you. All right. Good morning. Let's see what's happened. What's going on? Dividends today, which is a nice dividend. I've already posted that over on the membership tab. Obviously, members get all the access to what's the heck is going on day to day. So that is posted on there. Some nice ones actually. That the Tesla yield is a nice dividend. Coming in, BTCY dividend, basically all the purpose ETFs that I own paid dividends. So if you have any of the purpose cash fund as well, PSA, that will pay. So you can go check your account. That will pay your dividend today. That's always nice to get a little bit in my TFSA account. I've been putting more. It's funny. I've my weekly dollar cost average kind of was to put money into PSA as well, but I kind of stopped. I kind of stopped that and building that position a little bit with the Tesla, or sorry, not Tesla yield. I've owned enough of that. Google yield. I've been kind of putting that into. So my PSA is not that high right now, but that will be changed eventually. But I've been wanting to put and trying to build up about 5% of my portfolio into yield Google. So, and you saw the mug. There you go. Yeah, coffee mug. I had to run out this morning to get coffee too. I was like on the bare minimum. So that's part of the reason for heading out so early. I have to go back and look on Amazon and see if I can find some coffee on sale. And that's it, exactly what we'll be talking about. Bank of Canada. We talked about a little bit yesterday. We kind of knew what was going to happen. We kind of saw that what we expected happened, but we can definitely talk about Bank of Canada. It's obviously important to us. And Candace got yield, YTSL, and QQCC dividends this morning. That's awesome. Yeah, I saw that on your tab. Nice little chunk of change. One thing I've noticed on my TFSA is the dividends are really growing, and it's really snowballed. This probably more so in this past six months, and past year sort of stuff, as I've kind of hit over that 10, over the $10,000 mark. That's when you start to really kind of notice stuff coming in, which is nice. It's nice to show, a portfolio is still down in general, as everybody kind of knows, it follows along, but it's just nice to see those come in, and each month is building and building, which is awesome. Just keep reinvesting and keep on slow and steady. And yeah, so there we go. MC, good call there. So down in the States, the Fed, they're all but saying they're going to keep raising this. Like, it's not off the table. Maybe, and with with all the stuff that Powell's been saying the last couple days, he's in front of is it the House today? House or Senate? I can't remember, one of the two. It was the Senate. Was it the Senate yesterday? House today? Basically, like, rates are still there. He's basically sticking firm and saying they're going to have to keep raising rates. It might be some big ones down in the States too, the way I've kind of read into it a little bit this morning. So it definitely sounds like it will. Their meeting, I think, is it? I think the next rate for them is it towards the end of this month or in April. I'd have to double check the date, but I would not be surprised. The Canadian dollar not doing that well. That's for sure. Yesterday, big drop Canadian dollar. I think today as well, a little bit. So not necessarily good. So that'll be the interesting thing. What's going to happen with us, right? Are they? And we got this. Obviously, let's pull up this the Bank of Canada. I did have it sitting on my Yahoo News here. So let's pull up that article. But there we go. So rates steady. First central bank to pause on rates. We knew this was coming, right? They kind of said last time it's conditional pause. But everywhere else, states is still saying we're going to keep on raising. This was basically kind of much the same wording. We're just basically going to continue to assess the economic developments and impact of past rate increases, and is prepared to increase the policy rate further if needed to return inflation to the 2% target. I think getting down to 2% is a bit of a dream, in the short term, anyways. But we'll have to see what happens going forward. They basically kept saying it's conditional on economic developments evolving in line with its economic outlook. So we will have to see as things pan out where things go. The next one is, I believe, when is the next Bank of Canada? Let's see. April 12th. April 12th is the next. April 12th is the next Bank of Canada right now. So we'll know. We'll kind of see as things kind of go along. What the heck is going to happen? So there we go. That is kind of the news that we knew was coming that came out today. Candace, let's see what we've got here. The House. I haven't had a chance to watch any of the live. I think they're posting some of it live. So if you're watching it, yeah. So the House is asking him everything that he has nothing to do with. That sounds about right. Stuff that he has no control over. But yeah, I think in Canada, the pause, it'll be interesting to see what happens the next little bit. We're definitely not going to see rates go down. I don't think we're going to see a prime rate a drop now, probably until, let me know everybody's thoughts in the live stream. This isn't just about me, my opinions, but I don't think we'll see probably any kind of prime decrease until 2020. I think we're going into 2024 now, probably. I'm going to think they're going to keep this held as long as possible, and if anything, we might see in the next within the next maybe 8, if the next Bank of Canada rate announcement is April 12th, and then it's in June, we might see some increase depending what happens with the Canadian dollar and what happens in the States. So we'll have to see. It's interesting times out there. That is for sure. I guess the biggest thing with Canada is we're more impacted with rates in terms of housing, which is, I think that's probably part of the reason the bank is. It's not necessarily their part to do it, but that's part of, I think, why we've seen this pause here. And so you think 2024, yeah. That's how it's kind of panned out. I think MC it's closer now to raising than pausing at the current time. I think we might see, yeah. I think maybe next time April or in the June July we might see some increase. They're going to do them. I think it's going to. Well, who knows? This is the hard part. We can always try and predict, but like anything can change within so quickly. There's so much kind of stuff still happening out there. Ukraine is still an issue, Russia, and so it's hard to really know. But I think we're probably closer now to, we're definitely not anywhere near a decrease. That's for sure. But we may be closer to kind of a pause. We'll get a bit of a break for maybe another month, and then might be an increase. We'll have to see. So yeah, interesting times. On that note, I just kind of mentioned the dividends are in. I haven't repurchased. Now, Candace, I saw on your community tab you bought something. Did anybody? We've had kind of ugly. Yesterday was definitely a red day yesterday in the market. Did anybody? What's everybody's? Anybody still carrying on? What's anybody buy anything, sell anything, trade anything? It's always kind of interesting to hear what people are kind of doing. Nothing for me. I was going to reinvest my dividends this morning, but the Wealthsimple app was kind of acting really flaky for me this morning. It wasn't loading up properly, so I'll do that this afternoon. Reinvest those dividends into some of those shares. But that's about that. I haven't really actually decided what I'll put it into. Probably just a fraction. I'm thinking probably just a fractional purchase of in the S&P to keep things simple. Yeah, it is still the job market still is really very strong. Unemployment is still low. Like, when was hold on, let me pull up if it mentioned that. It mentioned it in another article. I can't find it again, but it's like almost historically low for unemployment. So there's still lots of jobs out there. And it doesn't seem to be letting up. It comes down. I mean, we just don't have the people to fill these these positions. Everybody seems like they're retiring or what I don't know what they're doing. I guess different these positions aren't being filled the same way. What I found really interesting though is the younger. I always say younger. I mean, I'm still young. I'm only 47, but younger than me, people kind of entering the workforce and kind of coming up in the workforce. There's so many different types of jobs that people are doing now that weren't even around 20 years ago, and that I find really interesting, that people are getting into different jobs, and younger people, I mean, more remote, more online jobs and different things that they find. It always amazes me, these jobs that and type of work that people do these days. I saw an article a couple days ago, and it was a millennial that has a job, and she worked from home, and she was a graphic. I want to say something to do with, it was either in terms of it was either graphic design, or she was in technology, like coding or something like that. But it was all work from home job, and she found that because she worked from home, she missed the camaraderie of working in an office, which I get. There's something nice about sometimes working in an office, for good or bad. Sometimes goes both ways. But what she did to start to kind of overcome this being alone at home, she started streaming, and she basically streams as her workday, and it was like. And she does it, and she has something like 500,000 followers she streams live to TikTok, and she has followers, and that's how she makes most of her income now, is because other people that are working from home and need to have that connection with people, that's how they're finding each other, which is super interesting, like just super interesting. It just kind of blows me away. So it's funny. I said to my friend, I was talking to him on the phone, I sent him the article and I was talking, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just, cause I work from home all day. Maybe I'll just have the stream going all day and people can just watch over my shoulder. I don't know. Super sounds weird, but it was just kind of really interesting. All these new these different jobs that people are finding to do. So in your field, there's always it's always kind of good to keep an eye on what's going on in your field for sure, to see what's happening, because it might be some better opportunity somewhere else too, right? But there's so many jobs. There's jobs available, and the same ones keep getting reposted. So they just can't find people, or people don't want to do certain. I guess maybe people getting more. If there's lots of jobs available, people getting pickier with what they actually want to do. I'm fortunate enough with me that I've got a good I've got a good gig where I work, and I'm happy, and keeps me going. But you still kind of look on the peripheral with what's happening, and people always approach you looking for you, like looking to poach you almost, because they're looking for someone to fill a position, right? And it's hard, because if you're happy where you are, it's hard to pull those people over, right? Let me know, everybody else, if you have any of the same, if you're in different industries. In your industry, you obviously don't have to give away where you work or anything like that, but is it the same with different, if you have a different, let me know in the comments. It'd be interesting to see if everybody's having that same general idea out in your field. Would be interesting to hear on that one. I think the big thing too is a lot of people retired. I think 2020, like everything kind of just it seems like everything got accelerated the last few years, as it was coming, just with the last of the baby boomers are kind of coming out of the job force now, so retiring. So I think maybe that accelerated a lot of the retirements, and they just can't find people coming up, because younger people coming out of school are doing different things, right? Than normal. So I would assume, like, a lot of trades are probably. I mean, even when I was in a trade, it was hard to find good qualified people that had done their apprenticeships and that kind of stuff in the trades, to hire. And that was coming on, 25 years ago. And even still, I think a lot of people still aren't going into certain vocations, because they're learning different things these days. Definitely interesting times we are in. That is for sure. Yeah, that's the same thing. And see, I've never really understand watching it either. YouTube. Twitch is a big one with gamers. I watch people play, comment videos. It's odd to me too, but I have friends that actually watch, that play and watch people, not necessarily live on Twitch or YouTube streaming games, but it's quite popular. It helps them, I think, because they find spots in games to like, a lot of people post, I know, with gaming stuff. I'm not a big gamer, but friends that are, and people will post parts of the game that are hard to beat and stuff like that, but they also do live stream, and they live stream play the game. So I guess they have a good commentary that they have going, and it works for them. I used to work next to someone that would watch a live streamer all the time. Like he'd kind of just, I think I mentioned it before, he'd have it on like a separate little he had a separate laptop, and he'd just have it on in the corner of his office, of his desk, with headphones, working, and just kind of listening to it as he was working. And they would be on live, because it would be the same game that he played. So, well, to each their own, right? I do watch a lot of live streaming. It's the same as watching here, right? You find there's some value. If you find value in it, you're going to tune in. So obviously everybody has different ideas of what they're looking out to. I think coming out of high school, a lot of people have an idea of what they want to be, mostly based on culture. Then they might do it for a while and realize it's not what it's all cracked up to be. Yeah, I think, and people change. People, I think people now these days too change careers a lot more. You see that. I see that a lot more with my work. 'Cause you see what people do for a living, and there's definitely a lot of more. The days are gone when people. I mean, I think for my dad. I mean, my dad had over the course of his career, from what I remember, had literally two worked two different places. One was because he was laid off in the early '90s, late '80s, early '90s, and then transitioned to another job in the same sort of field. It was in sales and selling different products. Sales is sales. You can sell, if you can sell one thing, you can sell something else. You just have to learn it. But sales is sales. So he was in sales, but he had basically two jobs, and the last one he worked for, oh geez, I mean 20 years, and the one prior was probably 10 or 15. So people prior generations kind of worked one job, and then retired there, and then but now I think people are definitely more transient, move around to different industries, different positions, till they kind of find they don't have the same, maybe don't have the same loyalties to different places. But it probably depends on the jobs too, because I mean a lot of jobs before used to have good pensions, that kind of stuff, not so much anymore, right? So but there is pressures with people, like, growing up, if your parents are a doc, mom is a doctor and dad's a doctor or lawyer or something like that, then they say you have to do this or do that, and it might not be for you. That's the thing. There's one thing really to be happy with work too, makes a big difference. If you're unhappy where you're working, it just makes life miserable. If you wake up every day kind of dreading going to work and doing what you're doing, I think that's a time for a change, for sure, to be happy. That's kind of why I switched. I mean, but it's different when you're happy there, but you kind of maybe see yourself in the future not being happy or not, so it's yeah, you have to be happy. You have to be happy because you spend what, eight? I mean, you're spending minimum 8 hours a day kind of working. It's not even including if you have to commute, an hour each way. So if 12 hours of your day is kind of work, you want to make sure you're happy, for sure. Oh, good call. There you go. So you like, yeah. If you do like it, that's all good. Obviously, yeah, it doesn't pay every job. You always kind of wish you paid more. I don't think there's the perfect, no one says, I don't think many people say you pay me too much. But I know what you mean on that comment. If you do like it, you'll kind of stick it out for less pay, maybe some less pay, or maybe there's some perks that, that are a good trade-off for that. But that's good. That's how you got into investing. You knew you weren't going to get wealthy, so you had to find ways to build wealth other ways. Actually, that's awesome. That's perfect. I know, like I have friends in, speaking of jobs that don't necessarily pay well, I have friends that are in travel, and sometimes the job wouldn't pay that great for what you're doing, but the perks and the flip side of it was you got perks with travel. So it kind of offset some of the, if you like your job, you don't make quite as much, but you got other perks. Somehow it makes it all kind of worthwhile. But it's good. It sounds like, I mean, from your comments, obviously you're doing, it's worked out in the long run. So that's a good thing. And I think for everybody, like if I wish, I mean, I always kind of had started investing, whether it was RSP, and but not paying as much attention. And I think I wish when I was, coming out of high school, I mean, I had a good job, paid well, but I wish I was smarter at, smarter at investing, but also putting more, more towards it, because I think looking at it now, like just what I built in the last couple of years, had I done that when I was 25, and I easily could have, if I wasn't silly. But everybody, when you're 20, you know everything, and you spend you get a paycheck and you spend it all. You're out. So it's I wish if you go back in time, you learn things as you get older, but it's I wish I did more. Although right now it's so much easier to do it. I think it was very. I think going back, you think it appeared more hard, technical, more daunting to be able to invest before, because before you'd go and you'd basically go to the bank. It was a big process, right? And you walked in somewhere and you sat down, and you didn't you weren't really sure what you were doing. There was I'm going to date myself here. The internet's not really around. So you had to do a lot of the research. You could do was you'd go to the bank, you'd get booklets, and it wasn't user friendly to kind of start off. But I think younger people now have it, I don't want to say easier. It's not necessarily easier, but more access to information, so they can start investing earlier. And hopefully, with this channel, most of the viewers of this channel are kind of my demographic, skew over 40 typically. But if maybe there's some younger people watching and find it, they'll learn and go, okay, just put a little bit to start off into. And I think, apps and companies like Wealthsimple or some great at kind of getting the message out there, slow and steady, easy to invest. They have the invest side, right? Even just a little bit of your paycheck, right? They have all these things now where you can do auto deposits and all that kind of stuff. It's for young people going forward. I think it's really good. Always wanted to be wealthy, but having a job is a job you like. Yes, definitely also important. I think I had my first GIC when you were 12. That's awesome. So investing was always in the cards, but my job forced it to be sooner. Good call. I remember getting, as a kid, I think my mom had bought, you'd get your savings account as a kid, and it was back in the days of Canada savings bonds, at the time. I think that was probably my first investment. I don't even remember how much it was. $150. I forget what the Canada savings bond was, but I remember having it at one point and then cashing it in. I think I spent it though. That's the silly thing. I should have been smarter and kept it and reinvested it. But hey, that's back in the past. But I think the thing is just, yeah. You always wish you start earlier, but I still have lots of time. I'm only 47, so hopefully, knock on wood, I have a long life ahead to be able to keep investing, going forward, and keep working, keep being able to do it and be in a decent position by the time I'm hopefully retire whenever. I haven't really thought of. Everybody dreams of retiring at 65, I think, or earlier. Some people want to retire earlier, but I like working. It makes a difference when you like what you do. So I could see, and of course my job's not physical in terms of like a trade or anything like that. So I will probably be able to work at least part-time or something like that later on to keep doing it if I like it. So. All right, let's go. Articles on the next. I have, I guess one or two more we can pull up here. This is kind of fitting because I was out getting groceries today, but we'll know maybe more of this as it kind of happens. Is the whole grocery store CEOs are facing questions. They're in the Commons, the House of Commons committee today, about. So I think the CEOs of the largest grocery store chains are before a parliamentary committee to answer questions about the rapid rise in food prices. Food is definitely expensive. Noticing that more and more. Talking to the checkout person today, basically saying, because that's everybody as they go through if you go through the line at the store, everybody's like, you get your bill, it's like $100 and you have one bag of groceries, and everybody says that everything's so expensive. And so we'll maybe see what they have to say about this as they're getting kind of drilled. It hasn't. We'll have to see what kind of comes out of that. I'm sure it'll be all in the news, but it's interesting. And I was mentioning to the the checkout thing today, lady today, how you learn to kind of start to cook with stuff, like find stuff on sale, right? And vegetables on sale, and you learn how to cook different things because everything's so expensive. But yeah, that's the thing. People without the pensions the same, it will be tough. It will be tough. It doesn't seem like it's getting any easier, MC. That's for sure. And obviously, OAS and CPP don't pay a ton of money. I mean, if that's your only thing going into retirement, that's not pretty. That's for sure. But people are working later. I know my dad was working later, maybe a little bit in terms of detriment to his health in some ways, but it's kind of, he enjoyed it, so it's kind of, yeah. I think that's, people will definitely be working longer. That's a good call. My first bank account was with a credit union, and my first from Candace here, and my first financial disappointment was with them too, when I learned that the interest rates on savings accounts were so small, and that's the case today too. I mean, we're getting a bit better in some of these high interest ones. Some of the higher interest ETFs were definitely getting better interest rates, but if you look at like a bank's regular interest rate or outside of their promos, they're pretty terrible. They don't want your money. It's a liability, right? You learn that. You learn that down the road. It's that's how banks operate. They take your money and then lend it out for a lot more than your money's. Yeah, I think a lot of people maybe just don't know. You think they know that, but I think a lot of people maybe don't know that how banks actually, what actually happens with your money in the account. But yeah. I'm trying to remember. My first account, Candace, was with Bank of Montreal, my parents' bank there. So I had my passbook, right, that you would do it. And you used to have to go in and deposit. There was not even bank machines. You had to go and deposit, and you give them your bank book. They'd open it up and put the paper into the printer. And when you went to deposit money, now you just go to the bank and give them the money. And before, you used to have to fill out exactly what you were giving them, right? 1, 5, 1, 10. You'd have to write it all in the slip, and they'd stamp it, and give you back the receipt. They'd count it all, put it in the thing. It was a long process. They had all those, as you lined up the bank, right? You had those checks, and if you wanted to withdraw money, you had to fill out a withdrawal check. You just didn't go, before bank cards, you just didn't go to the bank and give them your card and say, I want to take some money out, or go to the machine or deposit money into the bank. I think it's weird. It's always weird to, I mean, thinking of cash. I haven't used cash in so long. The last time I used cash, I had to go is when I went and paid off my car, because I had to go to another, like, I bank with CIBC, and my car loan was at Scotiabank, so I had to take out money from the cash machine, and I haven't taken money out cash out for, I can't remember the last time I used cash. I had to take cash out, and then I had to go into the bank and pay them with cash. Line up at the till or the teller and everything else. It was such a pain. Yeah, saving. That's exactly it. You're putting it away for the future, and a lot of people don't. And if you're not, yeah, that's what you have to kind of. That's the hard part. The future is keep working. So I think the best thing. I mean, try not to have any. As you get older, try not to have any type of major debts. That's for sure, because that's what you work to pay off. Try and have a half decent little car to drive, or a vehicle that's paid off, and not keep getting a new one. Save. Yeah, I think it really hit me probably the last few years. Thinking, okay, I better get serious here, if I ever want to have somewhat of a relaxing retirement years. Might be. Yeah, might be. Yeah. I mean, I'm fortunate enough that I had one from an old company I work for that's still sitting there, that I'm not able to touch. Had I been able to touch it probably when I was, younger, I probably would have sold, because you do silly things. But it's kind of nice. So that's going to be sitting there at least a little bit for when I'm retired. I'll have to start to draw from it, but that will be, that will help a little bit. It's not huge, but it's better than nothing. That's for sure. I was fortunate enough to have that. Yeah, that's true. People are I think pretty clueless about the actual financial system. I think if a lot of people learned about it, they'd be pretty upset about it. um, uh, but in terms of savings rates, it's like it's like 0.02 or something like that. Something ridiculous for an actual regular savings account. They pay you nothing. You're basically putting your money in a bank to have the access to move it, essentially, store it and move it quickly. That's kind of, and you pay for that. I mean, you pay, say you have a decent plan and you pay in $15 a month, you're paying them to hold your money. They're not doing you any favors, except other than allowing you to, move it around to pay your bills. Yeah. Yeah, you'd only have that if you know. I would assume a lot of people probably don't even know, like, MC, if you have a like a car loan. I bet you a lot of people don't even know what their interest rate is on their car loan. They just would see what the payment is, and they would probably know what their payment is on the car, but they probably don't know what the car loan or lease rate is, which is pretty scary too. Obviously, car interest rates used to be decent, right? Mine was, I think, like 1% or something when I had it, but they're up over 5-6, I think, percent now. And I bet you most people don't know what the interest. A lot of people probably don't know what the interest rate is on, like, a regular savings account, just sitting there doing nothing, when there's some opportunity now, especially with GICs and certain others. Even if you're a very, very conservative saver, there's probably some opportunities out into more, at least a bit more yield, if you want to hold cash. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I mean, some people are comfortable Skiz 416 to save, and they're not necessarily knowledgeable about investing. But I wouldn't call anybody a loser necessarily if you're trying to sock some money away. But there's other ways. I think the best thing to do is look at other avenues for sure. I remember being 3 or 4. Yeah, push the buttons. I used to do it too, taking out $20 or whatever, and it was like an arcade game. Coming out the money. I remember when those first started. I remember as a kid having to go to the bank. You go with your mom, and because my dad was working, and you have to go to the bank on a Friday before whatever it was, 3 o'clock or whatever, to get money out for the weekend. Because if you didn't have money out if you didn't have any money out, you wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't have any money to do anything on the weekend or spend if you forgot, you had no cash. I think my parents probably took, I think that back in that time they took money out, because they need money to get like a pack, beer and cigarettes or something like that when they smoked. But just different times, that's for sure. But I remember when the instant teller, that's what they used to be called, instant teller, used to open up, so you could actually go to the bank and go in and take money out of the machine. That's all they did. They didn't. I don't think you could deposit money. I think you could just take money out of them at the time. Yeah, I mean, but you know what? It's better than spending. That's for sure. I have money in high interest savings account. Emergency fund is there. You can't invest. You can't invest everything. You need to have emergency funds and that kind of stuff sitting aside. So, but if you can find something that gives you a better return, if then go for it. But sometimes you need access to cash, right? If that's the case. Yeah, that's the thing. The GICs, all that kind of stuff was good back in the day. You just put your money into any kind of fixed income, big return, and people, if you saved, yeah, you were doing quite well at the time. It's not the case anymore. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. They had those pens on the chains that would go. It definitely different times, that's for sure, these days. It's weird to even now sign your. I use if I ever have to fill something out with using a pen, and if I fill something out my hand like cramps if I'm doing more than signing my signature. It's pretty crazy. And a lot of times now I'm just signing my signature electronically. I have it all saved, so it's like you don't even pick up. I don't even have. I'm on my desk where I work. I don't even have a pen. So if I need to fill something out and write something out, I have to search everywhere for a pen. It's crazy. And do they still have to look next time? I haven't been to a bank to pay actually attention to that. But if they still have those old pens on the chains, and half of them didn't work, and you try and make it work, and you have to go to the next pen, that kind of stuff. There is a reasonable alternative. Yeah. That's true. That's true. If you invest in banks, you'd be happy. Don't steal the pens. Control expenses. Make us as a shareholder happy. Yeah, it's too good. Yeah, that's actually true, Candace. I kind of have to it takes me a second. I used to be able to just fly through it, and my signature is a disaster. It takes after my dad. It literally looks like a scribble. But it's like the same scribble every time. It's really weird. And I have to kind of now think, like, if I get it correct, and it just looks like a terrible scribble. It always has, though. My writing is even worse. I've never had good writing. My mom used to give me like crap all the time, because my mom has perfect handwriting, cursive handwriting, which they don't even teach anymore in school. And my writing is like it's like a mismatch of printing and writing. So it's it's pretty horrible. It's pretty horrible. I can read it, but if I have to fill out something, I usually get the PDF and I do it on the computer and type it out, because if someone, I would feel bad for the person that's reading it to have to read my my horrible chicken scratch, which is getting worse as I don't write anything. After I hit one sentence, it's just downhill from there. Cursive, yeah, for love letters. There you go. I know how to write cursive, but it's not. If I take my time, I think I can probably do it a bit better, but always be in a hurry. Yeah, that's true. Steal a pen instead of the money. Running out, getting the pen. So good. All right. Well, there we go, everybody. Coming up to quarter two, which is awesome. I'm starting to I can see my inbox starting to fill up. So we'll have to any get last comments, fire them in until tomorrow. Yeah, there you go, Naylor. Yeah, I'm right-handed, but yeah, you used to be getting hit with you'd get hit with the ruler, right? If you wrote with your left hand before. Now you can write perfectly. Same with both hands. So I guess did it pay off in the long run? I guess I don't think they do that anymore. If you're writing using your left hand, super crazy that back in the day, but it's just a different time, that's for sure. Like I said, with my mom's writing, it's like perfect cursive. Even her signature is like just perfect cursive. So it's a lost art, that's for sure. And yeah, my writing, I could be a good doctor, Vic. It's really terrible. First to admit, yeah, it's terrible. I sometimes have a hard time. I can read it, but I sometimes kind of have a hard time. You're like, is that a 7? Is that a 9? I don't dot I's, and like it's just terrible. Very sloppy. I'll admit it. But there we go. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Candace, have a great rest of the day. Hopefully the day went well. Hopefully the trading was okay. And then Vic, doctors type, except prescriptions. They don't always type them out, but I could write prescriptions. Anyways, coming up on the quarter two. Thanks everybody for tuning into the stream. If you haven't yet, I forgot to mention partway through. If you haven't yet, don't forget, hit the like button. Helps out the stream, gets it out to everybody. I do appreciate everybody taking their time in the morning to come on, have a quick chat. It's always fun, like we said, how the conversation goes from our TFSAs into different places. It's always kind of a good fun conversation that we do have. I do really appreciate everybody taking their time out of their day to come on and say hi. A couple new people today haven't haven't chatted before, so thanks, welcome. And again, special shout out to the channel members that showed up. We had a couple of them today here. Candace was here from Mountain Finance. If anybody hasn't checked out Candace's channel, I think everybody has that is watching my live stream. But if you haven't yet, go check out Mountain Finance. She's got a great finance channel as well that has lots of good deep dives into different stocks and ETFs. So go give Candace a subscribe if you haven't already. And we had earlier, Nadia was here, and another channel member, and just definitely really appreciate supporting the channel. And we'll catch everybody. I'll have it posted. I will get a portfolio update done very shortly. I'll get that out. That goes out to channel members the day before, but then everybody can watch it after the next day, so you won't miss out on anything. Don't worry about that. I have to get my dividends reinvested today. I will get into that, and I will also have the live stream for tomorrow posted later on today. And that's all I had. Thanks everybody. Always awesome conversation. I do have to get to work today though. Work is busy. That's good. It means more money to invest. So on that note,